Ever tried to make a simple boiled egg and ended up with a kitchen that looked like a war zone? Now let me tell you a little story. One sunny Sunday morning, your truly here decided to whip up a quick breakfast, just a boiled egg, nothing fancy. But alas, in my haste, I popped the egg into the microwave, setting the timer for a mere 2 minutes. Simple enough, right? Oh, how wrong I was. As the seconds ticked by, an ominous rumble started to build, and then, boom, the egg exploded, splattering the insides of the microwave with an abstract painting of yolk and shell. The aftermath? A kitchen that looked like a battlefield and an egg that was decidedly more scrambled than boiled. So, my friends, let this be a cautionary tale. Cooking may seem as easy as pie, but one wrong move can lead to a culinary catastrophe. So let's dive right into the do's and don'ts of cooking to avoid such kitchen catastrophes. Rules to remember if you are a beginner to cooking or even an experienced one. Rule number 1 in the kitchen: never, and I mean never, put an egg in the microwave without piercing it first. Ah, the basics. The backbone of cooking. The building blocks of every culinary masterpiece. And the first thing to remember is that the stove isn't a cat. You can't just leave it alone and expect it to behave. Unattended cooking is the #1 cause of kitchen fires. So when you're simmering, baking, roasting, or boiling, remember to stick around and keep an eye out. Next up, we have the simple yet crucial act of washing hands. You wouldn't eat a meal off a dirty plate, would you? So why would you cook with dirty hands? Washing your hands is like the pre-party to the cooking shindig. It's where you get to kick off all the dirt and germs before you start creating your delicious masterpiece. So, make sure to wash your hands thoroughly before you start cooking and after handling any raw meat or eggs. Now on to our third basic rule. Everyone loves a good surprise, right? Well, not when it comes to cooking. Reading the entire recipe before you start is like looking at a map before you start a journey. It helps you avoid any unexpected detours, like realizing halfway through that you needed to marinate the chicken for 3 hours or that the dough needs to rest overnight. So before you start chopping and mixing, make sure you've read through the entire recipe from start to finish. And finally, let's talk about multitasking. We're all guilty of trying to do too many things at once, especially in the kitchen. But remember, cooking is a dance, not a race. Take your time, focus on one task at a time, and enjoy the process. So there you have it, the basics of cooking. Nothing too complicated, right? Just remember to keep an eye on your food, wash your hands, read the recipe, and take it one step at a time. Remember, folks, these basics are the foundation of any good cooking experience. Ever tried to cut an onion and ended up crying a river? Let's talk about ingredient handling. Now we've all been there, wielding a dull knife, wrestling with a stubborn onion, tears streaming down our faces. But folks, it doesn't have to be this way. One of the first rules of ingredient handling is to always use a sharp knife. It's safer, it's easier, and it gives you a cleaner cut. And about those tear-jerking onions, a sharp knife actually reduces the tears, as it causes less damage to the cells, releasing fewer irritants. Moving on, let's chat about fruits and vegetables. Did you know there's a whole world of drama going on in your fruit bowl? Some fruits, like apples and bananas, produce a gas called ethylene as they ripen. This gas can cause other fruits and vegetables to over-ripen and spoil. So remember to store these drama queens separately. And what about frozen foods? We've all been tempted to fast-track the thawing process, maybe even considered using the microwave, but that's a big no-no. Proper thawing requires patience. For most foods, the fridge is your friend. It keeps the food at a safe temperature while it's thawing. Remember, good things come to those who wait. Now let's touch on the topic of washing ingredients. It's simple but crucial. Always wash your fruits and veggies under running water. And no, a quick rinse won't do. Give them a good scrub to get rid of any dirt or bacteria. And lastly, the golden rule of ingredient handling. Respect your ingredients. They're the stars of the show after all. Treat them well, and they'll treat you to a delicious meal. Don't be that person crying over onions, folks. Handle your ingredients with care. Here, we will talk about some cooking techniques that will help you alleviate any dish to the next level. Ever wondered why your pasta is always sticky? Here are some cooking techniques you might be doing wrong. So let's dive right in. First up, the sticky pasta mystery. It's not a case for Sherlock, but simply a matter of stirring. Pasta needs a good stir during the first 2 minutes of cooking. This is when the pasta's surface is coated with sticky glue-like starch. If you don't stir, the pasta pieces stick together. So remember, stir your pasta, folks. Next on the chopping block, overcooked vegetables. Now I know some of you love your veggies soft and mushy, but overcooking does more harm than good. It drains out the vibrant colors, the crunch, and worst of all, the nutrients. The trick is to cook them until they're just tender. An added bonus, your green beans will still be green, not a sad shade of army drab. Now let's talk about heat. High heat isn't the be-all and end-all of cooking. It's great for searing meat or stir-frying, but not for everything. For dishes that need time to develop flavors like stews or sauces, low and slow is the way to go. And for baking, well, let's just say if you crank up the oven to speed up the process, you'll end up with a charcoal brick instead of a loaf of bread. And lastly, let's not forget about seasoning. Salt and pepper are your best friends in the kitchen. But remember, you can always add more, but you can't take it away. So season in stages. Taste as you go, your taste buds will thank you. So there you have it. Stir your pasta, don't murder your veggies, respect the heat, and season wisely. These aren't just techniques, but the secrets to better cooking. And remember, practice makes perfect. The more you cook, the better you'll get at it. With these tips, you'll be cooking like a pro in no time. And now for the part everyone loves to hate, clean up. Yes, we're diving into the nitty-gritty of post-cooking chores, but don't roll your eyes just yet. I've got some tips that'll turn this chore into a breeze. Tip number 1, clean as you go. Sounds simple, right? But how many times have you left a pile of dishes in the sink, promising yourself you'll get to them later, only to find that later turns into tomorrow? Here's the trick. Once you're done using a utensil or a dish, clean it right away. This way, you'll keep your workspace clutter-free, and you won't be left with a daunting mountain of dishes once you're done cooking. Next up, let's talk about our best friends in the kitchen, parchment paper and aluminum foil. These two are the unsung heroes of easy cleanup. Lining your pans with parchment paper or foil before cooking can save you from a lot of scrubbing later. So, whether you're baking cookies or roasting veggies, remember to line your pans. Trust me, your future self will thank you. Tip number 3, dispose of your cooking oil properly. It's tempting to just pour it down the sink, right? But did you know that it can clog your pipes and harm the environment? Instead, let the oil cool down, then pour it into a sealable container and throw it in the trash. You can also recycle it at local collection centers or repurpose it for other uses, like making soap or bird feeders. We're almost done, folks. Remember, cleanup isn't just about making your kitchen look tidy. It's also about maintaining your tools and ensuring they last longer. So take care of your knives, pots, and pans. Clean them properly, dry them thoroughly, and store them in a safe place. Cleanup doesn't have to be a hassle, folks. With these tips, you can make it a breeze. So the next time you're in the kitchen, remember, a clean kitchen is a happy kitchen, and a happy kitchen makes for a happy cook. Now who's ready for dessert? And there you have it, folks. A few do's and don'ts to make your cooking experience less of a kitchen catastrophe and more of a culinary triumph. We've navigated the basics, learned how to handle ingredients with care, and explored some cooking techniques that can elevate any dish. Not to forget, we've also touched upon the importance of cleanup, because a clean kitchen is a happy kitchen. We hope you've enjoyed this culinary journey, and that these tips help you whip up some delectable dishes. But remember, cooking is an art, and every artist has their unique style. So feel free to experiment and discover your own do's and don'ts. And hey, why not share them with the rest of us in the comments? We'd love to learn from your experiences. Remember, the kitchen is where magic happens. So cook wisely and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more cooking tips and tricks.